So today, I'm beyond excited to have a truly inspiring a guest in the house. I would say someone who has been making waves as a voice for his generation. And since he was just a teenager, how, my goodness, mind blowing, I'm going to tell you. So meet Ishaan Srivastava. Srivastava.
Srivastava.
Srivastava. Sorry. 18 years old?
19.
Oh my God, 19. I know. You're like, my son's age.
Yeah.
You're the powerhouse from the Midwest, kid. and you're also a podcast host. Is it called the Ishaan S show?
That's
that
right.
You started in 2021?
Yep.
And 70 episodes to date.
I actually I need to update my website because we're actually crossing 130 in the next few days. That's
wow.
I do not update.
Oh my God. 130, I would say 130 plus episodes with
130 plus
incredible guests, right? With incredible guests. You cover all of the, I would say, the major election stories as well as global highlights, right? Headlines, I would say. I'm sorry. And I'm not so much into politics, but it's so inspiring to see and hear your voice around that. And how do you want to change and help the future generation, right? And I do love your podcast. I did went through a few. It mainly focused on fast-changing world of American politics. In a way that's clear, honest, and super accessible, I would say, especially for the younger generations. And I hope they get inspired by you. And I would help me understand, are you also having talking events, I would say, speaking events?
Yeah.
And I will let you talk about that. And fighting for better tomorrow and showing what it looks like when passion meets action. I just love it.
Oh, I love that.
I just love it. So, Ishaan, thank you so much. I'm so thankful for you joining me today, and welcome to Key to You.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for our conversation today. It was so great talking to you, off camera a few days ago, and just hearing about the work. I've been taking a look at some of the work that you've been doing here on the show. It's great work, and it's truly an honor to be here with you.
Thank you, Ishaan. So let's start off with, how does your day really look like with so much, you're juggling your studies? Oh my God, you're in college, you're juggling with the college, content creation, your podcast, and having the outside event. How does your day look? Let's start with that.
No 2 days are the same in my life. Usually I even the times I wake up are so different every single day. Part of that is because I have a school schedule too. But a lot of the time I am either waking up super early for interviews or waking up super late because I was up the night before editing or doing something like that. So, in my book, no 2 days are ever the same for me.
Oh my goodness. God bless you, kid. So you started the Ishaan S show back in 2021 that we just talked about. Yeah. And it's more about, what I wanted to understand, what sparked you into it, right? And what was your first episode look like for you when you started? And what made you think that this is it? I want my voice to be known. I want to do this because this matters to me and it's value for me. How did you get to that?
I think, and I'm sure you can probably relate with this as well as a creator yourself, but getting started and really that first push to make an episode, it takes so much. And honestly, that was the hardest of anything that I've done. And, I've been doing this for a long time now. And I will say still to this day, one of the hardest things I've had to do was go and record that first episode. Because, you can go, right? It takes so much.
Tell me about it. I still remember in May, the first recording wasn't easy start for me.
Nope. And it's you find out very quickly that you are your own biggest critic. So listening back to the recordings, I scrutinized literally every single thing, and I recorded multiple times, multiple takes. The goal was for it to come out, I think May 12th, I think, was when I had said that I would release an episode. I didn't release anything until June 3rd. And that was just because I kept pushing and I was so hard on myself. And it was ultimately because this was something I'd always wanted to do even then. I had always had a passion for politics, and I could talk talk anyone's ear off just endlessly about all of that. And so one of the recommendations I got was from a relative of mine who I was just talking, I was babbling just endlessly. And he's like, you should start a podcast, go in your own space and just talk about it. Yeah. And I took that very seriously. I was like, you know what? Why not? Because I have so much that's always running in my brain, and I want to keep speaking. So that was initially why I started it. And beyond just, because a relative had gotten annoyed with me at one point of my rambling. It was also just growing up, I watched, with my parents, my grandparents, and others. I used to watch the news with them, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, all of the networks. And so for me, idols growing up, obviously you would imagine are politicians, but a lot of them were actually journalists. I looked up to journalists like, people like Rachel Maddow and Jake Tapper and Anderson Cooper. Like, these were people who were role models for me, and I wanted to emulate.
Anderson Cooper is my role model too. I really like him.
He's really good, and he's one of the best in the business. And but there's so many, and the work that they did. I just was always really inspired by it, and I always wanted to emulate that kind of work. And so that's why that was another reason why it clicked for me when somebody made that suggestion that I start the podcast was I can be like them too. And maybe I might not be perfect. I might be literally 50 years younger than some of them, but I want to do this and I want to give it a shot. And so starting that first episode was definitely just the biggest hurdle. But I am glad that I did it, and I pushed myself, and I had, my eyes on the prize, which was just putting my voice out there. And honestly, I haven't looked back since. It's been amazing.
It is so important that understanding the opportunities. Anybody will give you suggestions or tell you, hey, what about this? What about that? But then you're taking that and, setting that goal for yourself and taking that one step forward, that action was so important. And you did that. And you did that.
and that's why I have, and having been through the experience, it is why I have mad respect for any creator that I meet, that I come across, because a lot of people are so quick online. Sometimes they can dismiss you, they attack you, they say all these things. But the truth is, even for people that I don't agree with, and I'm obviously in that business where there are people that I don't agree with, I still have a lot of respect for them for willingly putting themselves out there. It is not easy. And so that experience has also just provided that really important perspective. And I just have this great appreciation for people who are in this line of work.
Oh, I so appreciate that you made that statement, because it is easy for anybody to sit out there, look at what you're talking about and making 10 critiques, 10 different type of, hey, you could have done this better. Oh, you look really this way. You could have done this way. You could have done. Some are good. We got to take it. We got to improve, because we're not the best. And we need to keep grooming ourselves as we move along. But it's about that you talked about respecting everybody in this, journey. Yeah. I so agree with you, and I do too. As someone from the Midwest who's built this platform, what fuels your fire? I think you did talk about it a little bit, but is it a particular value or personal experience, or just seeing the energy in your generation that sparked this thing? Like, I want to be talking about politics.
That's a really good question, because if you ask virtually any person in my life, including myself, the answer is a pretty big I don't know. I actually don't know how this started, and no one can attest to that for that matter. And it is one of the very interesting questions of just me. I don't actually know how it is that I eventually got interested. I like to tell people that my one of the milestone points for me was the 2016 election. I was 10 years old, so relatively like I knew that there was a world around me, and you know, what a great, maybe not so great, I don't know, just first perspective of what the world around you can be like. And for me, it established some sort of urgency of needing to speak up and acting and using your voice. And I got to see that in so many places, present and precipitating throughout our country. And so I think that was my initial push, our biggest push to get me into this stuff.
Amazing. So you have spoken about representing Gen Z.
Yeah.
What's one thing you think the older generations like us often get wrong about, you know, how young people view the world today? Because I know how I view, for me, it is slightly different because I didn't grow up here. I was not born here, but then I'm a citizen today. And my thought process and how I was built was totally different, right? I'm the first generation in this country. But I may get absolutely wrong in how my kids think about today's world, right? Yeah. And how does that shape the conversation you want to have with a generation like us?
I think this is a question that we've been, just in political spaces, we've been working with for a really long time. And this is not particularly, you know, a progressive or conservative issue. This is really across the board, something that we've been tackling this. And I think what it comes down to is, what I've noticed is that there is a tendency not to necessarily take Gen Z seriously. Just that, you know, they're kids, they're the caricature that most people imagine, like the woke snowflake on a college campus, when in reality, Gen Z is, first off, the biggest voter bloc in our country. We are the biggest voting segment, and that was in 2024, and it's only going to get bigger. And we care about a lot of issues. In my speeches, many times when I'm speaking on behalf of Gen Z, one of the things I point out, and it's really unfortunate, but it's worth pointing out, is that Gen Z today is less likely to enjoy the American dream of owning a home, owning a car, or raising a family compared to any of our predecessors. And it is consistently just one of the most broad themes that I see all the time. And so there's this tendency, I wouldn't say among all people of, you know, older generations. The only reason I would say I have been able to do half the things I've done is because there have been folks, you know, with more experience who have given me a seat at the table and have been open-minded. So I'm very, you know, I'm very lucky in that sense that I've not necessarily faced as much pushback as I'm sure other folks face. But nonetheless, I have definitely dealt with it. I'm not going to say I haven't, just even in the last few weeks I have. And I think it just derives from the fact that there are people out there that just assume that all of Gen Z is the same and that we all don't really, we don't care about basic issues. There was this, I think one of the things we saw in like New York City, for example, when Andrew Cuomo lost, there was this assumption, when he came back into the mayor's race, his whole thing was, I'll post a TikTok about affordability and that'll get Gen Z. And, you know, it's such a brash assumption to just make that claim. Right. Because we do care and it's our futures on the line. And so that is, and even in sometimes heated discussions I will have with older folks, I will always point out that we want to have a seat at the table because it's our futures that are on the line. It is the tomorrow that we don't know what it's going to look like. We don't know what's coming ahead of us. And we just want to have that opportunity to speak about the future that we have the most stake in. And I think as we continue to become that really big interest group in our country, with the largest voting bloc, and just the diversity of all our backgrounds, we eventually, I think, will start to reign, and we will start to come ahead, and people will notice, and we'll pay attention to our issues.
Definitely, and you said it so well, and I'm so proud of you. So your show breaks down American politics in a way that is accessible and honest, right? And what is the biggest compliment you have gotten from a listener that made you realize it's resonating now, finally?
I don't know about a compliment. There are definitely more of the other thing. But I will say the comment that I do very consistently get, and it's honestly the one that keeps me going, is if when a person tells me that an episode or an interview that I had provided them a reason to vote, or provided them with clarity on a candidate. I just had this opportunity to moderate this debate just I guess a week ago today, and after that debate, people came up and they said, this help me decide who I was going to vote for. And when you get to ask those types of questions, when you get to be in a position where you get to talk about what is going on in the world and help someone make sense of it, it feels great, obviously, but when someone tells you that directly, it just reminds you like why you're in this work. And my reach,
the value you're bringing.
The value that I think a show like this has been able to provide, particularly to young people, has been just great. I know folks, I've gotten to know folks who literally could not care less about politics, who now tune in and pay attention. And I think that's just so important. And what little part I can play in that, I am very happy and proud to, because now more than ever, we need more people paying attention and tuning in. Definitely.
So hosting a show like yours must have some wild moments too.
Oh, yeah.
So what's the funniest or most unexpected thing that has happened during the episode or while you're creating a content?
Oh,
or what's the weirdest, oh my God, kind of a moment too? Whatever that, I'm sure.
I think fairly recently, one of my videos, the video I think that you came across.
Yes. I loved it though.
Thank you. That kind of randomly just blew up. I don't know what there was special about that video, what I said. It was pretty normal in my view of just the content I post, but for whatever reason, that really struck a nerve with people, and it went around like crazy. And it's moments like that. I've had other videos also do that. The reception has been a little iffy on those, but this one, the reception has just been so great. I don't respond to all my DMs that I get, but if somebody's watching from it, know that I read all of them. And it's just been so great to see just people saying, hey, I go Gen Z, and I'm all for it. I say, yeah, let's do it. I'm so happy about Gen Z. But it was pretty random. I did not expect that to blow up the way it did. And
that is the episode, or that is the event where you were speaking, is the one that connected to me. And that's how I outreach to you. It's like, oh my goodness, he is so good. And especially that statement that you made, I am representing on behalf of Gen Z. That was so powerful. So I kind of connected to you with that one statement right there.
Oh, thank you so much.
Although I'm not a Gen Z, my son is.
Well, at least I made a point. And I think that was, even in the crowd that I remember speaking to that crowd, most of them were not Gen Z. So, I was really trying to hone in the point for folks who may not have that perspective even. So,
and you did very well.
Thank you.
So who inspire you the most right now? They can be creators, activists, or everyday person that you talk to. And what have you learned from them?
Not to get too partisan, I'm involved in progressive politics. Right now, I don't if you look at like the national figures, honestly, I don't see many, to be very frank. I don't, but where I see my real inspiration is on the ground organizers, just everyday people, your neighbors, your friends, classmates, just your teachers. I mean, and I've again had just been so lucky to work with these people for so long, and I've been able to see the work, but the way they have mobilized in this moment that we're in right now, where we definitely need to be stepping up and using our voices, the leadership and initiative that I have seen from many people who I'm so happy to call friends. I think they are the ones who I really would call my inspirations right now, because just through everything that gets thrown their way, they are incredibly relentless and they keep pushing forward. They never give up. That's what we like to joke about. Take any local organizer in Democratic politics and say no to them. You never can. They will always figure out a way to get what they need. And I think right now, more than ever, I have gotten this front row seat to see some of that just in Illinois and Wisconsin and across the Midwest. And candidates just like that, local candidates who, who go from being activists and organizers to becoming candidates. I think it's just inspiring, and that gives me so much hope right now.
So I did not plan to ask this question, but it's coming in my mind. Okay. So let me just put it out there.
Okay.
Have you got any resistance in your family of what you do, like your parents, or are they more towards, we're happy and we're out there for you, whatever it is, we're there for you? How is that dynamics?
My folks are definitely my folks are definitely tuning into this. So I think they know the answer to. I mean, it's obviously, just being in a South Asian household, it's a little unorthodox to say politics. It's not necessarily the first thought that comes to people's minds.
I'm from South India, so I know that.
It's definitely not the most immediate thing that comes to mind. I'm very fortunate that my family, they were incredibly supportive, and they're also, they don't like to be outed as like the activist types, but they are also, they feel very strongly about just the world we're in and how we need to be, we need to have a purpose, and we need to make use of that purpose. And so for me, that calling is, activism and political engagement. For someone else, that could be completely different. But if you look at my family, a lot of them, they do what they're passionate about, and the things they are passionate about, they are good at doing, and they provide something back to the world. And I think that theme has kind of stayed on in my family even today. And so doing politics, there's definitely questions like, is it safe sometimes? Obviously, and those are valid concerns, but I've never faced any kind of resistance as in drop it or don't do it or whatever. They're very supportive, and for that I am so grateful. I know a lot of folks, I have those conversations where it's not always as sustaining, and so they may not, I don't say stop completely, but they may have to wait a little bit longer than maybe I might have.
Totally understand. And the reason I ask is depending on how we are grown up and the culturally, our mindset, our environment, I think the way we think and the way we operate is totally different. And just I didn't plan to, but it just came. So I would say, especially this question came to me because the same episode we just talked about where you were speaking that resonated with me, that made me reach you. You have been out there speaking at events and rallies. What's the most energizing feeling you get when you're in front of the audience, right? That whole crowd talking about building a better tomorrow.
I'll tell you about October 18th, we had No Kings 2.0. And I was one of the organizers in my community for No Kings 1. And so we had 6,000 people in our town show up, which was just amazing.
Amazing.
But then for No Kings 2, we had planned for 6,000 people, like, because that's how many showed up last time, and I was a speaker at that event. And lo and behold, we had to actually change our venue a week before the rally because we had too many people, and we had gone up to 8,000, I think, by the time we were on day of. That morning, I got on stage, or that afternoon rather, I got on stage, and we were still trying to do the counts. Like, no one was really sure how do you count that many people anyway. But I go on stage and I just look, and I spoke, and then I got off, and then I whispered into our organizer's ear. I said, there's no way in hell that's 8,000 people. That's like 12, 13,000. And it ended up being about 12,000 people that came out in our little suburb of Chicago. People from all over the place. People from all over the place were showing up. I saw the signs. I saw the cheer. We did all these songs together, and that like energized me. I don't usually feel super anxious speaking in front of like a big crowd like that. I'm usually actually struggle more with like smaller groups.
Smaller one?
Smaller groups are where I struggle a lot, but when it's big groups, I'm fine. But when I saw 12,000 people, all I could think about was, look at this sea of hope, and they are here to get involved. They are here to speak up, and you know, I have this awesome opportunity to speak to them directly, and they are here to listen to it, and they are here to make sense of it and mobilize. And honestly, and that was one of the most special moments. But throughout the rallies that I've had and events that I've had the opportunity to speak at, just the energy of people and the dedication that I get to see from so many everyday people is just inspiring again, and fires me up.
And that's your drug. I love you know, that's what energizes us. Like, you know, even, you know, to me, somebody asked me this question, so why do you do a podcast, right? And the answer for me was, even one soul out there listening to these conversations that we both are having, one Gen Z or somebody, oh my God, let me go back and look at what Ishaan is doing on his podcast and see that, and is impacting them. This is what I'm going to be taking the decision, or this is the right thing to do. That's all it takes. That's the gift for us, right? Don't you think?
I'd say so. Yeah.
So there's a lot talk about young people being the future, right? Because we all talk about our next generation is the future, and my kids are the future is what I believe in too. So what's one simple action you encourage your follower to take if they want to get involved and make a real difference?
I think that's a great question, and one I preach it all the time. Don't shy away from using your voice. Everyone is an influencer. One of my friends says this a lot. Everyone is an influencer. Whether you have 2 followers or you have 150,000 or 1 million, everyone can make a difference. All you need is that initial push to speak up. And just like we had with our first episodes, just crossing that barrier. I think everyone just needs to cross that initial barrier. And when you realize, like, you'll live and you'll be fine, and it's the world keeps going round, like, it's liberating. And I would just, my call to action for anyone right now would just be, and particularly, of course, to Gen Z folks out there, because we need your voice more than ever. Just speak up. And if you want to get involved in elections and campaigns, go on a website like Ballotopedia and look up your ballot. Usually tells you both parties, Republican, Democrat, all the candidates running. These local candidates, and start local. I mean, that's my other thing. I love local politics. It's my favorite kind of politics. And start local. They're always looking for more help. They're always looking for volunteers. It's really cool to meet the candidates who represent you in you know, your state's capital or in Washington. Just those little nudges. And once you get in, I promise you, like, once you get in, you get the bug and you just never stop. Like, you can't leave. I know so many people that have said, I am going to quit politics, I'm going to leave politics, but they always come back because there's always something that matters to them, that eventually affects them, and they have to speak up. So
did you feel any time that you want to quit? Maybe not. I don't think so. Did you?
There have been times, without a doubt, where I have felt like, for example, when I went viral in June, that was a really tough time for me, and like it was incredibly difficult, and it was hard, just dealing with so much hate, and there was a lot of racism even in my comments section. I got death threats. It was difficult, and I would say that was one of the moments where I felt like just dropping everything and maybe figuring out whether this politics thing was worth it. But I tell people all the time, like, thank God I did not, because that was precisely the reason I felt after, and when I reflect on it, that is precisely the reason that I continued to stay in the fight, because I don't want a world where that continues. I don't want a world where that type of hate and divisiveness takes hold of us. I want to continue to be a voice for good. And so, right after that was when a lot of doors also actually opened. So awesome. I'm so grateful that I did not give up. And I tell people a lot, like, there will be a lot of reasons to give up. Find your reason to continue.
Find one reason to continue, right?
The one reason will outweigh every reason not to, because I think it was in The Office, in like some show. In The Office, Jan Levinson, crazy character. But one of the things she said that has always stuck with me is there's always a million reasons to say no. But only one to maybe say yes. So find your why and find your reason to do it. Because if you don't, then people are going to walk right all over you. And I'm not going to say it's easy, because it's not. It's not at all easy.
Nothing is easy, right?
Nothing is easy.
Even for us to be prepared and taking this call and having a podcast session, because this is not our life either. This is not the only thing we do. We have other things that we follow through. And how do you still show up? Make a point. So one thing is having like other hobbies. You cannot make politics your full-time work. I don't know anyone that is able to function that way. I know I can't. I like to entertain myself. I watch a lot of TV. I am a sucker for a good story. It's also, I like to read. I like to cook. I hang out with my friends. There are definitely like, I consume politics more than a lot of my peers do. Twitter notifications pop up. I'm texting all the time. But I also make sure that I am not entrenched in it, and because it's so not toxic. Consumed completely, right?
Because if you're consumed completely, it just takes such a toll on your outlook and just how you feel. So I definitely try to entertain myself with a lot more. Just like tomorrow. It's going to be very cold here. It's going to be like negative. Well, you're in the Midwest too, so know. I'm going to stay inside. No CNN, no MSNBC, no Fox News. I am going to cook. I'm going to read a good book. I am going to watch my favorite TV shows.
I love that.
And you need to be.
I wish I could do that. I still have to go back to work. Still have to do the work.
I just don't have class tomorrow. I just don't have class tomorrow, so I got lucky. But keeping yourself busy with that stuff is just so important, and you need to be able to take your mind off of it. Totally. That's why when I'm mad, there's my dad actually noticed this silly correlation. Every time there's like something like catastrophic happening in the news, which is arguably like every other day, I tend to cook those nights. Those nights I will cook, and it is the funniest thing ever, because I just take my mind off of everything when I'm cooking, because I'm so concerned with measurements and making sure that, if I'm cooking with meat, making sure the meat's cooking good, or like I'm cutting the vegetables right. Like, it's always making sure. Distract yourself.
When did you learn cooking? At what age?
I learned when I was 14 or 15, whenever COVID was. We had a lot of time on our hands.
Oh yeah. Okay. My son was busy. Okay, I should not be saying. Then if he watches this, he's like, "Mommy."
Doxing your son.
He was busy sleeping. All right. So with the school, the podcast, activism, and life, how do you stay motivated on tough days? And
well,
is there? You just talked about. So this question is to me is like, if you're like irritated, cooking, reading a book. Okay, you just
I think there's still obviously definitely distracting yourself with all of the stuff for sure. But even then, there are moments where they stick with you. And in our politics, that has become a lot more frequent. And it's irresponsible to put your head in the sand and pretend that it doesn't exist. So it still stays with me. A lot of things will stay with me. And even on the crappiest days ever, which there have been a lot lately, what keeps me inspired is, again, what I had said earlier, the people who are also around me that don't give up, that constantly want to, and it's not like there's someone better than all of us who will never give up, because all of us are human. But it takes your community. When you have folks that you can turn to who are ready and willing and able to speak up and do the work, it inspires you to do it. And so, the situation might be really crappy right now, but call your senator, call your representative. Let's do an emergency protest here. I'm going to make a video about this. I'm angry. Sometimes it's okay to just admit that you're angry. And sometimes people that follow me know that once a week, at least, I will post a really long rant on my Instagram or TikTok, just screaming at the phone. Sometimes you just have to vent. But we need to be able to hold ourselves up in those moments of irritation and weakness. But to put your head in the sand is also not possible.
Not possible.
So that's why we all need to continue to look to each other and to inspire one another to speak up.
Find your community. That's what I would
find
say,
your community.
Yeah.
And it's so valuable. When you find your community, it is amazing because you make friends for life. You find folks that also nerd out on things the way. There are so many conversations in my life where I don't imagine having them with 99% of the population, but with these people all day, every day.
All day. So fast forward, right? 5 years down from today. What do you hope that Ishaan S show helped to achieve? What do you want to achieve? What's your vision from today to next 5 years? Or do you want to be a journalist? I know I asked this off the record, but I want to ask, are you want to get into politics? Or you want to be a journalist? Or what's your vision?
I was on another show just a few weeks ago, and they had asked this exact question, actually. And I couldn't give a really coherent answer then. And I'm going to be honest, it's going to be hard to give a coherent one now, because it's just, in our world, 5 years is, heck, a year is a lifetime. So 5 years down the road is really hard to look at. But with my show, or whatever the platform that it may evolve into, because I think we also need to be able to change with the times. So whatever iteration of the Ishaan S show that may exist then, I just really hope that I can continue to do the work that I've really enjoyed and continue to grow an audience. I think right now we are seeing people flock to these new media spaces in record numbers, and there's so much opportunity to reach people through these sort of platforms. And so I'm really hoping, the past year has been really great for the show in terms of that reach. I've been reaching people just from all over, and my DMs people will say, I'm, from Connecticut or from Uganda or something, which I've gotten both of those before on the same day, actually. Wow. But reaching that type of audience is great. And so our politics is going to change a lot.
Right.
The last year, if that's told us anything, change is the only constant right now.
Constant, yeah.
And it is going to keep changing very rapidly.
Right.
And it's going to be really complicated to make sense of that. And even after this administration is gone, I think the culture of our politics is going to stay pretty similar, whoever takes the helm. And people need help making sense of that. And I just hope I can continue to play a part in whatever that may be, whether that is through the show. The question was if I got involved in politics. I don't know. I think any opportunity that presents itself, I want to know if I ever got involved in politics. And this is my approach to really any opportunity that comes my way is, am I the right person for this? Am I the right person for this moment?
Right.
And the biggest struggle in politics right now is a lot of people can't really answer that question. They just kind of go in.
Right.
And having that front seat, I am very cognizant of that. So I never want to think too far ahead, and I never want to, be ahead of myself or try to be presumptuous. So I think 5 years down the line, over the course of the next 5 years, rather, I hope I continue to play a role in some shape in our politics, and and make a difference if I can.
Absolutely, you're already making a difference.
Oh, I appreciate
I would say that for sure.
Thank you.
Last but not the least, I mean, this is something that I want to make sure that we leave this podcast with, right? If you could give one piece of advice to someone of your age who's passionate about something but does not know where to even start, what would it be? And I don't know whether it's a politics or anything, whatever that is, right, for them. And finally, what's the next for you that you are most excited about? Not the 5 years, tomorrow.
Yeah. So first, for the first question you asked, I think being a young person in any field is really difficult. I've been in these rooms and the retreats and groups with people who do all sorts of things. I've met people that do aeronautics, marine biology, medicine. And there is a real stigma against age. And the truth is, age is just a number. If you are able to achieve, if you're able to rack up experience, if you're able to push yourself, you are more qualified than a lot of people in a room. And I think in politics, it's actually maybe a little more apparent sometimes, because a lot of the times it's volunteers, people that are taking time out of their day, and I will be one of them. And I will admit, a greater share of my life has been spent doing this than maybe they have. And they bring a lot of experience to the table, but that doesn't necessarily discount the fact that I do bring my perspective to the table. I bring my story to the table. And in any field for that matter, you bring your experiences, you bring your story. And if you're 5 years old and you bring an experience that's worth listening to, I mean, every experience is worth listening to, but if you bring that, more power to you. And so to any young person, there are going to be a lot of adults, there are going to be a lot of older folks that are going to say no to you. And just like we said earlier, there are a million reasons to say no. Be the reason why they say yes, and continue to push yourself. Because if you're not going to push yourself, if you let, the negativity get to your head, and there will be days where it does happen without a doubt, you're gonna lose, and that's not good for anyone. The world is so much better with your perspective and your contributions in it, and it takes a lot to be able to recognize that. And it's a project. No one is going to be able to. I struggle myself to this day where I do have a lot of imposter syndrome. And I'm in Wisconsin right now. I'm in a lot of rooms where I'm the only person of color in the room, and oftentimes I'm the youngest person youngest person in a room. Oftentimes the only person of color in a room. And there will be times where I feel like, do I really belong here? Should I be here? But the fact that, and one of my mentors told me this, and it's really stuck with me. You are in a room for a reason, whether you pushed your way through the door or you were invited to sit there.
Exactly.
you have a purpose that brought you there. And so make use of that platform, make use of that opportunity and push yourself. Yeah. And I'm saying this while I actively do struggle with it even now. Just if I could really tell anyone that's what I really hope people can take away.
And that's not just for the young people, Ishaan. I will tell you that it applies to all of us too. Like even today, sometimes I'm the only woman of color and sitting in a room full with the men leaders, right? I mean, I feel like, oh my God, should I say it? Should I come out or should I just be quiet? Well, no, I had to push myself no, I'm going to speak up.
Absolutely. And oftentimes, if I like my whole why I want more young people involved is because it's pretty lonely. being the youngest person there. Totally, and I'm sure you get that even from your experience.
Yeah.
You need it gets very lonely when there are people who don't understand half the references you make, when people don't know what's going on.
Right.
And really the only way you are going to bring more people is when you put yourself forward. Representation matters so much. And when a young person sees a young person on stage at a big rally, I hope that they feel like they can see themselves on that stage.
Exactly. I wish for that. Yeah.
Right now, it's there, but you also, when you have a seat at those tables, you bring a perspective that's overlooked. And I think that really does matter. I was just in a situation not too long ago where, again, I was the youngest person in a room and we were talking about who should be invited and blah, blah, blah. And I said, let's give a reach out to youth groups and high schools. Yeah. And they said, no, young people don't vote. And I admittedly, I'd had a bit of a day that day. So I did snap back and I said, this is the reason why we lose. If we don't give a seat to young people at the table, if we don't invite them to come, we will never win. And so I don't think there would have been anyone else in that room that would have said that and would have snapped back the way I did. But it's because, you bring the perspective and you often share things that no one would have ever thought of. So I think that's why representation matters. And so, that was a really long-winded answer for your question.
Oh, no, but this is so powerful, I would say. I mean, this is going to resonate for all generations. Doesn't matter what,
Because I think at the end of the day, every voice needs to be at the table. And so I hope people can take that away.
And then more youngsters.
Yes, for sure. And to answer your second question about what I'm looking forward to, most immediately, I am looking forward to having some Popeyes for dinner, but waking up late tomorrow. But on a more serious note, I am looking forward to, this year is going to be a midterm year. It is going to be so important. We say it all the time. In an election year, this is the most important election of your life. Right. But by God, my God, this is the most important election year of our lives so far. And I don't mean to hyperbolize. If you haven't registered to vote, please register to vote, get involved. But I do. What I am looking forward to this year is the opportunity to cover and get involved and, there are a lot of fun projects that are in the works that I'm not quite ready to share yet, but I am just in the next few weeks. If people pay attention, I'm very excited to share some of those projects with people.
We'll be in touch.
Absolutely. I'll let you know, because there's just so much that an election year provides and so much opportunity to change the direction of our country. So I'm really excited for that. And that's what I'm really looking forward to.
And more power to you, Ishaan. And I'm so thankful for you to be on my podcast, KTO. And thank you so much for joining.
I'm so grateful to be on. I'm so happy that you invited me to be here. This has been a great conversation. It's been so much fun.
Thank you so much.